The following video contains scenes of a boring cunt telling you the government is bad, as well as stating the obvious for 20 fucking minutes. Viewer discretion is advised.
The party seeks power entirely for its own sake. We are not interested in the good of others. We are interested solely in power. Hello ladies, gentlemen, and all the warp entities in between. My name is Nathan X2000, and here on this channel, I like to make videos about 40k and XCOM. However, today will be one of the only times I get political, as this is an issue that is directly affecting a lot of my fellow creators. Now, for my long-time viewers, you'll have to excuse this more formal intro, as I suspect this video will attract more than just my usual audience. So, if you're new here, hello. I hope you are well, and thanks for being here. The quote you just heard me read out is from George Orwell's book, 1984. Now, some people roll their eyes upon hearing the title, as to be frank, people like to use this namesake all too often nowadays. But this time the comparison applies rather aptly, as said quote was spoken by the book's main antagonist and inner party member, O'Brien. The quote highlights how the inner party, who are the top brass within Big Brother, seek to gain and hold power purely for their own sake. Nothing is done from good intentions, nothing is done through honest mistakes. The actions of the inner party are purely to consolidate power for Big Brother and its metaphorical hydra of authoritarian ministries. Now, I won't bore you with the details of the overall 1984 story, nor the intricate details of the Online Safety Act. It's been a few days already since its implementation, and I wanted to gather my thoughts on the matter while producing a video. You already should know what this piece of legislation is, as many other British YouTubers have covered not only its content, but also the effects it's had on our internet access so far. And in no uncertain terms, this act is nothing short of draconian overreach from a malicious entity, the UK government. Sadly, my government, one that for years, regardless of the controlling party, has failed the British public and its many taxpayers for frankly, far too long. The OSA, which is what I'll be acronymizing it to from now on, is just another step in taking away our freedoms as a people. And for what exactly? To protect children from harmful content? Well, if you believe that, then I've got a bridge to sell you. But, seriously, the only people who are buying that excuse are government shills and people who have no actual understanding of the wider internet. The same people who will parrot that the OSA is a good thing will also be the same people who are too scared to listen to deep web creepypastas as they think they're fucking real. The government, who hire divisions of cyber threat security personnel in the many branches of online counterintelligence forces such as MI5, MI6, GCHQ and the NCSC, could have easily asked the legions of techno-autists at their fingertips as to why this was a bad idea. But they didn't. The UK, which is supposed to have some of the most robust counterintelligence divisions on the planet, its own government didn't ask all those people as to why this was a bad idea and the drawbacks of its actions. I do not, for a second, buy that this is all a case of good intentions but poor implementation. They have skilled analysts, they have legitimate experts on online behaviour, and they have scores of glowy boys that monitor public UK spaces for any, signs of bad opinions. Yet this one was just a teensy-weensy little mistake. I swear some of you think we were born yesterday. The government knows what it is doing. It does not care what you think. They haven't done for some time now. In the vein of protecting children, quote unquote, they have implemented a guilty until proven innocent type of system on everyone because for some odd reason, the parents are no longer responsible for the well-being of kids online. The government is? When the fuck did we decide that? Why is it that we have to pay the price for every single shitty low-effort iPad parent who think once they pop the old chubby butter biscuit bastard out of the womb, it's the system's responsibility to take care of them? The government, obviously having years of this expectation upon them, have realised they can wield the old, oh, think of the children mentality, and scores of normies will just back them up. Now, don't get me wrong, when it comes to banning children from viewing online graphic content, sexual or otherwise, flat out, de facto, I'm all for it. Personally, the responsibility should be on the parents, but we all know that people who would give Jeremy Kyle contestants a run for their money don't give a shit about their offspring, so sadly, websites and site providers have had to put the measures in place to stop this. Except for the fact that for years already, broadband companies, i.e. Virgin Media and EE, have internet filter settings on the modem interfaces. These companies give you booklets and have provided resources that tells you how to access these interfaces. Even then, the media devices themselves, such as iPhone, or phones in general, tablets, iPads, whatever, they themselves have parental locks and website filtration systems to stop little Jimmy from finding out what meatspin.com is. And this is coming from a person who works in IT. These filtration systems are both at the local device level and the wider broadband level. Parents have resources to access these features. So again, why is Big Bonga treating everyone like children to supposedly protect them from harm? Because like I said, it's a lie. Because some of the act itself introduces stuff for adults too, which is what a lot of people are glossing over. Amongst some of the obvious content of the act will try and full send prohibit, such as extreme sexual violence, which, apart from actual struggle snuggle videos, how would you define if it's all consensual within a certain piece of media? But, you've got your regulars like child pornography, fraud, selling drugs, and sexual exploitation. But what about the rest? Controlling or coercive behaviour. The fuck does that even mean? How do you regulate the way people speak to others unless you actively monitor the damn chat logs? And if by then the controlling user has been reported, the victim kind of already fucking knew what the issue was, so a separate legislation for it was kind of pointless. Extreme porn. Like I said, I don't trust boomers to classify subgenres of porn like hardcore BDSM or simulated graping, because these sorts of pieces of content are nuanced and often made with strict communication between actors and film sets. Go after the real shit like the police keep failing to fucking do. Racially or religiously aggravated public order offences. Oh, you mean we can't view all the protests around Northern Ireland, Merseyside and Epping because those all started due to immigrants not behaving very nicely? Gee, I wonder why you want to censor that. Inciting violence. Again, how do you classify that? I mean, for this, I imagine pretty easily, but there's an issue, because Lord knows someone can just accuse someone of inciting violence when they very clearly were joking. Remember the Sargon versus Jess Phillips fiasco we had a couple of years back? That's easily abusable. Plus technically already illegal, as making legit threats is still a big fucking no-no. Illegal immigration or smuggling content. Oh, so, again, we can't view videos about that now, eh? I wonder why the immigration-heavy parties of Labour and the Tories don't want us viewing that material. Again, makes you think. Promoting or facilitating suicide. See, this one's weird. So, not only are kill-yourself jokes gonna get censored, but the UK passed an assisted dying bill not too long ago. How the fuck is that gonna work when that comes into effect? Illegal, but legal? Again, it's piss-poor wording. Like, assisted dying may be spun as like, oh, well, technically somebody else is insinuating the procedure, so technically it's not suicide. However, it's your decision to put that process into effect, so that could be classed as, anyway. Intimate image abuse. That's just revenge porn. That's already illegal. Selling weapons. Coming from the government, who are so bad at classifying weapons such as zombie knives and ninja swords, I'll kindly yet firmly ask you to piss off. Police have been caught bragging about arresting people with literal butter knives. My American viewers will feel the same level of anguish if they know anything about the ATF. Same principle. They are overzealous, and most of the time, very ill-informed. Now, one of the big ones that caught my eye was terrorism. So, we can't post terroristic content to the internet. Now, to a lot of normies, this would seem fine, right? And I'd be much inclined to agree with you. I've seen my fair share of live leak trauma threads, and I'm not exactly the better for it. So, stuff like that on public sites should, in my opinion, be outright grounds for a ban, or at least under heavy moderation. You know, go to 4chan or the Sharty for that shit. Don't post it where some 12-year-old can get, like, traumatized. However, I pose you this question, dear viewer. The title only says terrorism. No further elaboration. Have you seen the definition of a terrorist in the Terrorism Act of 2000? So pre-warn you now, it's pretty open to interpretation. And the government loves that it is so open to interpretation. Please don't for 1 second think I'm advocating for terrorism. I'm not. I wish we could live in a system where the common man, whether a socialist, capitalist, liberalist, fundamentalist, feminist, misogynist, misandrist, communist, Buddhist, racist, basist, etc., everyone from all walks of life should be heard. Don't care if you don't like their opinions, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's just opinions. You choose to hate them, go for it. But arresting people for being anti-monarchy, arresting people for challenging the idea of unnetted illegal immigration, and arresting people for challenging pro-LGBT rhetoric is how you quickly sink into a dystopian fucking hellscape. This should be an issue across all of the UK, no matter how you feel politically. The same legislation that hurts us will be the same one that will hurt you in the future. Speech should be free from legal prosecution regardless. With the exception of provable and credible threats, of course. You know, that goes without saying. The OSA bill is just another tool to weaponize a surveillance state. Facial recognition software is something straight out of authoritarian China, and last time I checked, we were supposed to hate their government for the mistreatment of their citizens. Not to mention ID verification checks are abysmal too, because as we've recently seen, both of these asinine methods do not work in favour of the people. Let me start with facial recognition software. I got around the Discord age verification check system. Do you wanna know how? Norman Reedus and his license-hating fetus. Some mad lad uploaded a video changing his face and position that complies with the phone verification software instructions, and I got in. I'll link it down below so others can use. And the ID scan? Well, as if by some divine poetic providence, not even 24 hours after the act came into effect, the T app got leaked on 4chan. I was there in real time while the thread was updating and it was all happening. I'm talking faces, driver's licenses, names, the whole works. And this is just one example. Recently in the UK, retailers such as Co-op and M&S had their entire member system held to ransom after some techno-spurgs got a hold of their data. Fuck, even the government had that massive Afghan migrant resettlement leak back in 2022 when some fuckwit decided to send an email to someone they really shouldn't have. Yet no one heard about it until the super injunction was lifted on the matter here in 2025. IT security is a constant arms race, and storing compromisable data that can lead to doxing and private details is dangerous to people who you are now forcing to supply ID info for. All because the government wanted more power.
Scum.
I'm just tired. And so are the people of the UK. And well, if nothing happens, if we have to tap the old shuddy sign, then I can only see this getting worse. The rhetoric behind OSA is already poisoned enough. Fucking Peter Kyle, head of science and technology in the Labour Party, said, quote, "I see that Nigel Farage is already saying that he's going to overturn these laws. So, you know, we have people out there who are extreme pornographers, peddling hate, peddling violence. Nigel Farage is on their side."
What?
Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Farage. Ever since that Rupert Lowe shit went down, I've frankly got him down as a bit of a snake. But the head of technology said Farage is siding with, and again, listen to the language, extreme pornographers peddling hate, peddling violence. All buzzwords to basically stir up hatred within the normies towards Farage. Do you feel absolutely confident that the level of dishonesty coming from this man is suitable to be in charge of our countrywide technological advancement and legislation? Do you also feel confident that someone such as Jonathan Brash, a Labour MP from Hartlepool, also stated that if you want to overturn the OSA, you are on the side of predators? Ah yes, the government accusing people of being on the side of predators. How very fucking ironic. So, still feel confident? No? Well, screw you if you don't, because remember that petition that we all signed to try and repeal the OSA? Nope, they just told us to fuck off in their typical, oh, we are totally listening to the people type faux apology they usually give. And now they've even been on record as to being investigating VPNs, such as Proton, Nord, and Surfshark. But Nathan, they said they're looking into how they're being used, nothing about being banned. Why would they look into something that evades their legislative reach and then not proceed to do anything with that information? They want to do something. By the way, little fun fact I need to remind some of you sometimes. Governments lie. So, I don't trust them when they are stating that they won't ban VPNs. And let's say they do ban VPNs. Well, you should have asked all those security agencies I mentioned before, because that poses a question I don't think they've considered. Are you going to push everyone to start using Tor? Because I'll warn you, while all the dark web spoopy stories are horseshit, there's some things on Tor that are actually of great concern. Coupled with a growing nation of techno artists with skills in computers, one of them who you're listening to right now, who've learned all they have from watching countless tutorials online and having a family who have served in that industry, you'll have pushed all those supposedly free speech, predator adjacent people underground, where they can communicate in the internet you have trouble tracking. And people will capitalize on that, whether it be countries stealing data through VPN connections or people offering services to set up Tor installation packages. Because Tor isn't flawless. You need steps to actually protect yourself further from tracking sites and malicious agents. VPN or no VPN, you will hurt people in the long run if you keep up this act of protecting the children and then proceed to do the exact opposite. And this is especially true if other countries start doing it as well, which we've already caught wind of. Now, nothing is quite official in terms of requiring ID checks for adult content, but from the likes of America and Australia, we're already seeing news that they're going to bring in AI ID checks to ban people under 18 and 16 respectively. So all I'm saying is that you should keep an eye on it, because it sounds like it's spreading. Out of the many times I rag on my American friends and they rag on me, this is one of the only times where we stand concerned for each other. Even the Euros are starting to sweat a little bit, given their union is primed to do something like this also. However, just as a quick aside, I'd be remiss if I didn't discuss some of the misinformation about the OSA being chucked around, such as Wikipedia getting banned as well as 4chan. Just as an update, I can still access these sites, no VPN whatsoever. So just be careful when you read something about the OSA. People are taking this opportunity to just send people wild without credible evidence. Now, don't get me wrong, I can see these sites being banned in the future. It's just as of now, there is nothing. You know, if you're going to get heated, then at least have an accurate reason to do so. Anyways, just to resettle the mood, you know, bring it back a little bit and, you know, to stop being serious. There's obvious ways to get around such measures for now. VPNs are the most common thing nowadays. You know, they've not been banned yet. Learning how to set up your own onion network on your PC, as well as learning how it works, as well as not using services that comply with major tech organizations, are just some of the methods. Yes, I know Discord is one of them, and yes, I do have a server, but that's only because I'm not afraid to speak up about all of this, especially on another major organizational platform like YouTube itself. I don't need a license for speaking against the government, giving my opinions, or being critical of the laws in this country. Sometimes you have to be defiant to change the system. I mean, best be defiant now rather than being defiant when we have commissars roaming the fucking place. And they won't be, oh my god, heckin' 40k Imperial Heresy, 40 Emperor type commissars neither. I won't be shushed, and neither should you. If you're in the UK, speak up about this, please. We already have many videos from different UK creators, and it's even starting to make the major news itself. They're picking up on this. If you want to protect children's mental health, fix the broken NHS system. If you want to stop children from watching adult content, give parents further education and resources to make them aware on how to do so, or add in more stringent yet accurate checks. If you want to stop children from being victims of predators, tell the police to start doing their fucking job and actually target the individuals doing this, both foreign and domestic. If you want children to stop being radicalized, stop giving them reasons to be radical. Again, I don't want things to get to a point where riots break out everywhere. I don't want some kind of English war like people keep harping on about on YouTube. I'd rather half of the country did not start breaking out into physical fights with the police, because ultimately, in those sorts of scenarios, it affects everyone, and sadly there will be those caught in the chaos who never wanted to be involved in the first place. As John F. Kennedy once said, "Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable." And on that, that'll be it from me. Like I said earlier, this is one of those one-off videos, unless something drastic about all of this changes. I'm sorry if this isn't the video you were expecting. I know a lot of you were expecting the XCOM video, usually you like angry, sweary, jokey Nathan, but I had to get this off my chest. New XCOM video will be out soon when I can more or less find the time to work on it. I should have time in the future, but I've currently got a few things going on right now. But just, I promise, stay tuned and it'll be up eventually. If you've watched all the way to the end, I cannot thank you enough. I've been NathanX2000. Please, look after yourselves, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.